So, a few years ago, it was a really, really cold winter morning, and for some reason, I went to the gym, and I remember looking around in the gym, and there were only 2 other people there, and I thought to myself, these 2 people look like they're in really good shape. And I thought to myself, I'm in a league now with these people. I'm a part of the club of the people who go to the gym even when it's bitter cold outside. I get up and I go. I'll tell you, from that day, I knew that there was something that was going to change in my life. From that day, I was able to lose 60 pounds. I lost, and I think that was one of those main turning point moments in my life. It was, I gained the fitness mindset. I said, this is going to be who I am. I'm going to be someone who's going to prioritize my health. I'll tell you what. I've told this before at Anchor. I'll tell it again. I grew up without a dad. I grew up in a substance abuse home. And according to my counselor, what that did to me is that's the reason why I have so much self-doubt. You grew up in a home where you're missing a parent figure. You grew up in a home where, because of substance abuse, you have struggled to connect on an emotional level. You grew up with a message that you are not worth loving, you're not worth having a relationship with. So, I grew up with this self-doubt button that just always hits me. It's just something I live with now. But one of the things that really made it worse was I would look at myself in the mirror and I wouldn't like what I saw. And that, for me, losing weight was a big deal for building up my confidence. I'll tell you, I wish I would be able to say I learned self-acceptance and I didn't have to do that. But for me, it made a difference. It really helped. And so it was a course of several years, my weight loss journey. And so I'm passionate about that. And anyone who wants to make improvements, eat a little better, be a little more active, I want to encourage that. And I think that's something God would be pleased with. Of course, we balance it. We're not all about vanity. We're not all about, this idea that we can live forever. And we know that sometimes there's things outside of our control that are going to affect our health. But we want to make the best decisions with the body God gave us. I'll tell you, you're here and you're probably thinking, yes, being physically healthy is a good thing. I don't think anyone would disagree with me. If you would, maybe keep it down, because I'm not prepared to answer that. I would think some of you guys here would know that you might want to eat a little healthier, and you might want to sleep a little more, and you might want to be a little more active. Some of you guys, we know what we're supposed to do, right? But that's a big difference between actually doing it. On those stressful days where the only thing that's going to help is a burger from McDonald's or some ice cream from Dairy Queen or something. Like we know what we should do. We know to limit these things or make it a little less. But then reality sinks in. And so the question isn't knowing what we should be doing. The question is, how do we do it? And we do it by developing the fitness mindset. We do it by working out our first muscle. The first muscle, we got it on the slide. The first muscle to train is your brain. Everybody point out to your brain. First muscle to train is our brain. We want to develop a fitness mindset. This morning is going to be different. This morning is your motivation morning. This is your sermon to get you pumped up, psyched up, to get you on your fitness journey. Whatever it looks like for you. It's going to look totally different for each one of us here in this room. But hopefully this morning you're going to end up with some tips, some mantras, some things you can say to yourself to get you a little more motivated, to make a little more better decisions. Are we ready for that? Yeah. You ready? Yeah. Let me hear ya. Yeah. Are we ready? Stand up, stand up. And flex. Now you can sit down. It's fine. Okay, that's fine. I put a note. Okay, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to look at 3 different proverbs in the Bible, and we're just going to meditate on the proverbs. Just 3 proverbs we're going to look at. The proverbs are written to help us learn wisdom when it comes to our life, our finances, our relationships, and our own discipline. So I love these proverbs, and I'm excited to see what might cultivate in us as we sit on these for just a bit. Here we go, the first one. For though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity. Would you read that with me? For though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity. If I were going on a walk with you, and you fell down, maybe when I was younger, I would laugh. But now that I'm a bit older, I get a little more worried. I'd be like, are you okay? Now, if let's say you got up, and we continued on, if you were to fall again, I'd be scratching my head. I don't typically walk with people who fall more than once. I would think maybe there's something wrong with their shoes. Maybe there's something in this path. Maybe there's something the matter. Now, if you were to fall down a 3rd time, if you were to trip 3 times in a walk, I would think there might not be something wrong with the path anymore. I would think maybe there's something the matter with you. And maybe we should address it. Maybe you want to go get whatever's going on checked out. I don't think I would be walking with you long enough for you to trip and fall 7 times. Think about how many times you would have to fall 7 times. Think about how much audacity you would have to say, no, I'm fine. It'll be all right. After the 7th time. In the Bible, 7 has this fun meaning to it. There's a play on words in the Hebrew. 7 is sheva, and the word complete is sava. Complete and 7. So God creates the world in 7 days. He brings it from chaos to completion. This word 7 means complete, full. So it might be talking about an obnoxious number of times to fall, and also might be referring to a complete disaster. Have you ever fallen so badly that you're like, this wasn't just a trip up in my life, this was a fall. I didn't get laid off, I got really fired. Like, this was really bad. It wasn't just a fight I had, this was a degrees to 7 kind of fight we just had. This is one of those falls I don't know if I can recover. This wasn't just like binging some ice cream. You had the entire carton. Like, you had it all. This is a big, big fall. He says, the righteous falls 7 times and rises again. Each time you rise again, you rise again. Even at the worst of falls, you rise again. You know what's interesting to me? There's a real question here. Why does it say the righteous man? I would think it would be the determined person, the ambitious, the painfully optimistic. This is the righteous gets up after falling. I love this. This is a picture. What's going on? Can you imagine a righteous person after a complete fall rising again? It's just like you can't get away from Jesus, can you? The righteous one. The person who does right by people, does right by God. And there's something about it. If they do right by people, do right by God, there's something about a righteous person who, if they fall and fall and fall and fall, they're able to get up and be resurrected. There's something about, I love this. So here's why I bring this up, and we start with this proverb, is because when it comes to fitness journey, one of the hardest things to get past is the relapse. Is I broke my diet, or, I missed this workout, and it's just like in our mind where it's like, it's over. It's over. But let's remind ourselves that we can fall 7 times and get up. And I think there's something there. Tell me if you think I'm stretching this, but I think by not giving up, even after you fall, it's almost as if you are just playing out a small portion of what Jesus did in his death and resurrection. It's like the elevation song. The resurrecting King is resurrecting me. I'm getting up again. I'm getting up again. You know what is a good time to get up again? Is on a Sunday. I feel like a Sunday is a good day to start back up again. Maybe you slipped and you fell a couple times this week, but it's Sunday now, the start of a new week. Time to get back up again. Here's what we're going to remember. We're going to remember this. Falling is not failure. It's right here on the screen. Falling is not failure. Falling is not final. We can get back up again. Let's remind ourselves of that. Would you say that with me? Falling is not failure. Say it to someone next to you. Falling is not failure. You can start over. Tell them it's okay. We'll start over. I'm here with you. Let's go to the next proverb. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Let's say that together. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. The soul of the sluggard. The soul, it's not just the sluggard, but the soul, the very being of the sluggard craves and gets nothing. This, at first glance, you look at it, you're like, yeah, of course. There's lazy people out there who, wish their lives were better, but then they don't do anything about it. But the more I read this, the more I see this as a challenge for me, because I'm like, how many times am I the sluggard? I want to get better. I want to see a brighter future. And maybe I make all kinds of plans and ambitions. But you gain nothing. This is just a simple word, isn't it? The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing. But how tragic is that? To crave and get nothing. It's like yesterday, we were grocery shopping and I was trying to be good. I'm preaching on fitness and faith. We're in the cereal aisle and I saw Crave cereal. and I craved the crave and I bought nothing. Craves and gets nothing. There was a guy who just longed, he had this passion to work for, I believe it was Thomas Edison. He wanted to be on his staff. And so what he does is he gets hired pretty quickly. But it's not the role he wanted. He's like, no. My crave was to actually be partners with Thomas Edison. And so he's working really hard. He's spending time and years working in this business. And then eventually an opportunity comes up and Edison says, we need people to go and make this sale. And everyone's saying, no, it's impossible. And he stands up and he says, I will do it. And you know what ends up happening is he makes the sale and he becomes partners with Thomas Edison. Like this crazy, ambitious dream. In the world, we have these crazy dreamers. These people who say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it. They crave and they long. They say, I think I can do this. I think of Emmanuel and then going after professionally. I'm like, that is awesome. And I think we need to be more of that. And he's going after. He spends how many hours a week, not to put you on the spot or anything again, how many hours a week do you train?
Probably over 40.
Over 40 hours. See, the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing. So many of us, we want something more. We have these dreams, and we don't do anything about it. So many of us, we wish we were healthier. We wish we could do better. We want to live to see our grandkids grow up. We want to have energy, and we want to be able to go and live our lives, and we want to do these things, but then we crave and get nothing. But the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. There's a part of this verse that I know is not true, right? You know that there are factors in our lives and circumstances that keep us from reaching our goals. And we know that some of those factors are totally outside of our ability. It's interesting, the Bible does have a lot of words to say about that. The same Bible that tells us to pray, give us our daily bread. where we know sometimes our seasons are through in the wilderness, where things are hard and it's just our survival we ask God for, and we depend on God for. The Bible also tells us that there are times where we're not in the wilderness. There are times where we're out of the wilderness, we take a step out of the wilderness, and the reason we don't succeed is all because of us. And it says, the soul of the diligent. May that be our prayer, that if we have the means, that we would be the soul of the diligent. A little bit each day, consistently, making the right choices. Do you see this goes beyond just physical health? This is the choices of how you treat the people in your life. This is the choices of how you decide the attitude you're going to have when you get to work each day. The soul of the diligent is richly supplied. It's interesting, like I said, this doesn't always pan out this way. But it pans out enough to say that this is how the world is meant to work. And oftentimes it actually does work this way. And so what are we going to say? We're going to say we're not going to just dream and crave, but we're going to work at it. So we're going to count the cost and we're going to pay the price. We're going to count the cost. We know what it costs to reach our goals, and we will pay the price. I just think this is something you can tell yourself Monday morning when you're getting up a little earlier to work out. I count the cost and I pay the price. I count the cost, I pay the price. I am the kind of person who has a diligent soul. This is the kind of person I am, and I trust that God will honor my hard work, and I will be richly supplied because of my diligent soul. I count the cost, I pay the price. This is our mantra. This is what we can tell ourselves. I know it doesn't work in every circumstance. Sometimes there are wilderness experiences we live through. But in the ideal world, this will work. And I think for many of us, this will work. We will see results. Finally, I'll read it, then we read it. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. Okay? So we're meditating on it, so we're going to read it again all together. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. I don't know what comes to mind for you, but when I think of this verse, I think of child actors. When I was a kid, those were like gods. To be famous at a young age. I'm watching Nickelodeon, I'm thinking, man, these guys really, Drake, man, my goodness, this guy really has it made. And then nowadays, so many years later, it's just like, this is a field, this is an industry, is child actors now telling the truth about their experiences and how bad it was and how much abuse was there and how much their lives have been ruined, and it's just everywhere. It's hard to find a child actor who is thriving today. I think there was one actress from Disney Channel who became an astronaut, and everyone's like, I don't know how she did it, from Good Luck Charlie. They're like, the one child actor who made it. Everyone else struggling and doing really bad. But it's like, aren't they the ones who are the mighty? Aren't they the ones that are the famous ones? They're the ones who took on the city. They're the ones who changed the world. They're the famous. They're the rich. They're the ones we really admire. It's so crazy. The ones that we admire, the ones who are super successful in business, the ones who can take over, can change the world. So many of them, their souls are bankrupt. And this proverb is reflected on this, like, man, I don't care. I don't care if you can climb the ladder. I don't care if you can be successful. I don't care if you can make lots of money. I don't care if you can be super famous. I don't care if you have 50,000 followers, 1 million followers, 10 million views, or this and that. I don't care. Can you control your anger? Because that's impressive. Like, think about it. Can you control your anger? Can you get to a point where you're mad mad and you're like, I need to just take a second. And you can step away. Or when you get mad, do the people around you know, I need to step away. I got to get away from him. I got to get away from her. She needs space. He needs space. Or are you the one who says, I'm self-aware, I'm feeling angry, I got to take a moment? Can you control your anger? Can you be slow to anger? Are you the kind of person that, throughout the day, just stressor after stressor after stressor hits you like a ton of bricks? And it's just one surprise after another. Things couldn't go any worse. Are you the kind of person people look at and they're like, are you okay? Because if I were you, I wouldn't be. That's the kind of person who is better than the mighty. That's the kind of person. Here's my summary of this is, my greatest conquest is within. You may be able to conquer everything else out there, but if you can't conquer inside, you're still in trouble. But man, if you can figure out a way to conquer the inside, if you can be slow to anger, if you can be self-disciplined, you can go far. You can take on anything. Anything in this world can be thrown at you, and you can say, it'll be okay. What is it? The Beatles, let it be, let it be. It's okay. My God is bigger than this. It'll be fine. I can have peace. You know what they say is the most inspiring quality in a leader? The most inspiring quality is not the results they bring, is not their talent to communicate powerfully. The most inspiring thing isn't their consistency. It's not their ability to build others up. The most inspiring quality in a leader is their centeredness. Are you the kind of person everything else can shake around you, but you hold it together? That's better than conquering anything else. Better than the mighty is those who can be slow to anger, have self-discipline. I don't know what teaches you more self-discipline than trying to be fit and trying to be healthy. Man, that is a test on your discipline. At least for me, in my life, one of the things that has tested my discipline. And I'd like to think I've dealt with difficult situations. But man, to say no and shut the pantry without taking something out of it is one of the biggest tests I deal with. And what it does is it trains me to say I'm in control of my own choices. I'm the kind of person that can be slow to anger, slow to quick indulgences. I can have delayed gratification. I'm the kind of person with discipline. This is what God's calling us to. The greatest conquest I have is within.